Little known fact, this fan game was mostly made by Blackout/Nitchy, the same person who made Dormitibus back in 2018, which in my opinion is one of the best FNaF fan games of all time. This series is not what you want to be known for forever because based off
this
some
video
I've
fucking
to,
sucks.
making fan games about certain talking trains is dumb to death and is honestly laughable.
I gotta do something to fix my mistakes from that video. So, this video sadly exists, and today I'm remaking it. If you don't remember, it was this video and the worst FNaF songs videos that were deemed completely abysmal by me and a good portion of my community. I already remaked the worst FNaF songs video, and the remake was honestly pretty good. And today, it's the worst fan games video's turn, one of, if not the worst video on my channel. This video is loaded with massive problems. First off, the editing was extremely poor, whether that be the Power Director watermark my videos had at the time, the weird layout, the out of place looking text, just ugh. Secondly, similar to the original FNaF songs video, there was a severe lack of constructive criticism and there was more hate present. This time, the hate being way more bashful and rude than the worst FNaF songs. Thirdly, there was the fact that I commended a pedophile for improving their game development skills. Basically, I praised Nitchy for improving from insanity with Dormitibus. It was a comment directed towards Nitchy and not either insanity or Dormitibus. You see, this could have potentially gave him a platform back in the community and well, you never do that. Fourthly, the whole Big Trevi situation. If you don't know, Big Trevi was the developer of the Five Nights at Smudger's series, which is a FNaF fan game series based off an obscure character from Thomas the Tank Engine, Smudger. The fourth game in that series was placed at number 1 in the original video. I wish I never included that ending message targeted to him. It was extremely disrespectful, and to summarize, it told him to stop making FNaF fan games and that what he was doing was laughable. It was rude to Trevi, and it somehow got a few of my fans from my old Discord server to get the invite of Trevi's Discord server and basically fuck around and harass Trevi and the members of the server. Basically, in short, they fucking raided it. One of them even wished death from COVID upon one of the family members of a user on the server. That shit is wrong and never okay, and I'm completely disappointed that my video was the reason people had to be so nasty towards a certain person and his fanbase. I know what I said at the end of the video was harsh in itself, but come on guys, we're better than this. Because of this, I'm making this disclaimer right now. Do not harass any of the developers or people involved with the development of or general fans of the fan games presented in this video. Even though I may not like their FNaF fan games, these people are likely good people when you get to know them, and this video is meant to serve as a piece of constructive criticism to these developers so they can improve their future works. Please keep this in mind, because I have zero tolerance for harassment. Anyways, here are the other usual disclaimers. Number 1, this is purely my personal opinion, and if you like a fan game on this list, that is absolutely okay. I actually encourage you to continue liking it if you do. Don't let me take away something you enjoy. Number 2, as usual, the footage used in this video is mostly not mine and belong to their respective owners. Number 3, only fan games that have a decent following or community are going to be included. So therefore, no beginner scratch fan games or anything you would see under the new section of Game Jolt. These fan games are likely either kids or beginners in the FNaF fan game field developing their first fan games and are most likely just learning, so including those fan games would not be fair. So yeah, before this video starts, be sure to subscribe down below and turn on a notification bell. It is totally optional, but it would be appreciated if you did. Without further ado, let's get straight into this. If there's going to be an entry on this list that's going to get me shot in both of my testicles and then get a knife stabbed straight from my cold heart, it's going to be this one. So, Jolly 2. Jolly 2 is the second game in the Jolly series created by Ivan G, which loosely takes inspiration from the real-life Jollibee's establishments from the Philippines. In this second game, the animatronics are being shipped away to another location, and you need to be on the lookout in case anything happens to the cargo. Now, my biggest issue with this fan game is it's so boring to play. I'll admit, it gets a bit more interesting in the later nights when the pace picks up, but it's not by much. And as well, the gameplay just weirdly gets a bit too tacky with the amount you're doing. It's strange. It's both boring and tacky? How is that even possible? Well, this game somehow accomplishes that. For the first few nights, it's so easy and boring. Then by nights 4 and 5, it's fucking RNG. There's a difference between a game being hard but still fair, and then just unfair RNG. Now to fix this, I would suggest to limit down the animatronic difficulty a bit, not because of bad skill on my end. That would be stupid if that were the case. But I mean, maybe the players will learn the game more and understand it if they weren't constantly showing up. Like, the game honestly feels unbalanced. And to fix the boring problem, I would add more original mechanics for the animatronics because I'm sorry, but a lot of the mechanics are the dead same. It would just make the game more fresh if there was much more unique ideas in the gameplay. Also, I'm not a fan of the graphics. I think the brighting could be massively improved. If there were a few positives to this fan game, I do like the idea of fixing pipes. That is creative somewhat. Also, I think the addition of the minigames was pretty cool. Otherwise though, this is in my opinion, the weakest game of the Jolly series, and a lot of work needs to be done here to improve this game. It's a great thing the Jolly series improved as it went on, and I'm excited for Jolly 4. This game just needs some more originality, less unbalanced RNG, and better graphics, and there we go, decent game. Now let's buzz off to the next entry. Ugh. Let me explain. This and one other FNaF fan game carry over from the original video. And if you did not see the original, or you were somehow deaf during the intro of this video, this fan game was originally at number 1 on the original video, and it had the whole Big Trevi situation going on. Again, I explained it at the beginning of this video. So, Five Nights at Smudgers 4 Engines at War is the 4th game in the Five Nights at Smudgers series created by Big Trevi, which is a FNaF fan game series based on the beloved children's TV show Thomas the Tank Engine. This fan game series is all about Smudger trying to get revenge from being turned into a generator, which was a thing in an episode from the original show, and the 4th game takes a more action-like approach with this. Now, this fan game is not terrible. There are a few positives to this FNaF fan game, in fact. I'll get to them in a minute. However, I want to go over my issues with this fan game and suggest how to fix them first. So my biggest problem with this game is the gameplay. It's just too confusing to understand at first, and also, it's honestly pretty boring to play at times. To make this less boring though, I suggest adding more unique gameplay mechanics and adding more of the action element you're going for with this game's story into the nights. I honestly think it would be so much better if there was just a bit more happening. Another issue I take with this game is honestly the graphics. I'm not a fan of the style. I get he was trying to encapsulate the feels of model series Thomas, which does work to some extent, but I think some of the modeled shapes on the engines, the brighting, and all of that could be touched on more and given more of a focus. It just looks a little clunky. Also, this is a minor nitpick, but for some reason this game has 2 titles, Engines at War and Smudger vs. Stanley. I would honestly just choose one title, and if so, I would pick Engines at War. It's more action sounding personally, and it's more welcoming to those who have never seen Thomas and are just playing it because it's a FNaF fan game. Overall, Five Nights at Smudgers 4 is not that bad, and I regret adding it at the number 1 spot in the original video. Also, Trevi seems like a cool guy, and I apologize for any ill I may have caused him. With its negatives, this game has its positives, and just for that, I guess you could say, this was still a really useful FNaF fan game. Moving on. Another boring one. So basically, this is a fan game based on a McDonald's mascot named Mac Tonight, who in the 80s, 90s, and sometime in 2007 for whatever reason, would advertise McDonald's being open for 24 hours, and he would have his own jazzy songs to go with the commercials he appeared in. He would also become the Moon Man meme and just, yeah. His history is very interesting, and there are multiple FNaF fan games based off of this character. Hell, even a series that I personally really enjoy. However, we're not talking about a game in that series. We're talking about a different Mac Tonight fan game by a different developer, and it's the one where all you have to do is when an animatronic comes, you just stand there and literally do nothing, with the only unique character mechanic being Hamburglar, where you go on the camera. What the hell? I'm sorry for someone screaming there for a second, but come on, really? I'm not a fan of most of these character mechanics if you couldn't tell already. In my opinion, this is the most boring FNaF fangame of all time, and the reason why is because of that same old mechanic. Why? Why? Here, look, to make it less boring, I would introduce unique mechanics with each character. For example, there should be more characters that you need to use the camera for, like Hamburglar. Have like a button in the office or something that sends them away, or just something. One thing I loved about the Five Nights with Mac Tonight series by Photonegative Mickey was that at least in the later games, originality and the concepts of the gameplay mechanics would be a massive priority. But the biggest thing, in not just the later games, but the whole series in fact, is that at least every character did not have the same copy and paste mechanic. Sure, Mac and Mayor McCheese for the window and Mac and Ronald at the door in the original, for example, had the same mechanic, but unless you count Chris, everyone else's mechanics were somewhat different. In my opinion, the gameplay is the most important aspect of not just FNaF Fangames, but any game really. It's not the graphics, it's not the story, it's not the soundtrack, it's not the writing and possible dialogue it has, although those are still factors that can either be praised or criticized. However, gameplay is the most important one in comparison to those aspects. It's what the term video game or gaming or whatnot is based off of. You play a video game to, well, play it. So if the main gameplay mechanic of your game is just copy and pasted for almost every character in the game just gets stale and boring after playing for a little bit. So basically, the lack of unique gameplay mechanics and the fact you just stand there most of the time is basically my main criticism of this fan game. All you gotta do to fix it is just add more unique mechanics for each individual character. If I had any other criticisms, I would make the brighting of the neon lights look less bright, if that makes sense. I just think the game is a little too bright in its lighting, and I think if it were at a minimum level of brightness, it would be better. Otherwise, I don't have much else to say about this fan game. As I said earlier, this is in my opinion the most boring FNaF fangame to exist, and hey, wouldn't you know it, a reimagining of this game is in the works, and the graphics look like they improved a lot. Hey. Since the game is not out yet at the time of me writing this, I'll say that I hope you consider and take the criticism I had for the gameplay for your original game and to go all out with it. Can't wait! So this really concludes the boring fan games on this list. While I will say that number 2 is a little boring still, there's a bigger problem I feel like with the game, so yeah. I have more to say with number 1 and number 2 on this list than just, oh, it's boring! So without further ado, let's get straight on to number 2. So, before we truly talk about this fan game, I'm going to give a little disclaimer. Yes, I'm aware that the developer was 13 years old when he created the first 3 nights of this game, and I am not in any way knocking down the game for that. I am a firm believer in that anyone of any age can do anything and make something great. And looking at this developer's more recent catalog of games he has created, he seems to have improved his work, and for a young lad at the time, and possibly now I guess, it's admirable in a way. But yeah, basically this fan game is being judged and given criticism for aspects in the game, and not because of the developer's young age at the time. So my main criticism with this fan game is that it's just another typical free roam, joy of creation inspired FNaF fan game. It's not boring, maybe a little, but I was somewhat interested when playing, but I feel like there was a lot of missed potential here, and it's focused more on run away from the animatronics. I know I keep repeating this one criticism throughout this video for honestly each fan game so far, but I wish there was more unique mechanics to make this fan game stand out against the other free roam chase FNaF fan games. The reason why I'm choosing this fan game when I could choose many of the other fan games for free roam FNaF is because, I'll be honest, this game's popularity at the time had some influence in it. I don't usually judge games because, oh, they're popular, but I feel like in this case, I should, because this was a once popular fan game that basically presented the problems with constantly making free roam FNaF fan games within our eyes. So I guess you could say I think this fan game is overrated. I don't know. I'm just personally getting sick of seeing these constant FNaF free roam fan games, and then just having popular FNaF gameplay YouTubers just playing those and only those types of fan games because, hey, FNaF was once just a stay in room at all times deal, but ooh, you can move around, ooh, my YouTube money. As well, this game could just be polished up a bit, both in graphics and just overall. Like a basic text and a more nicer looking music box winder, and just you get it. It might just be a small nitpick, but I think it would work better in terms of overall presentation. Overall, besides the fact it can get you on your toes sometimes when you're literally hiding or running away from an animatronic, This game is just your stereotypical FNaF free roam joy of creation inspired chase game number 643, and that's really my biggest problem with it. It's one of the major examples of a FNaF fan game type that, in my opinion, needs to die off unless some of these fan games decide to offer unique mechanics and concepts and are presented and introduced, which is my main suggestion for this game. More unique gameplay ideas. However, this next fan game, oh fucking no. But before we dive into number 1, this is your friendly reminder that if you're enjoying this video, be sure to subscribe down below and turn on the notification bell. It's totally optional, appreciated if you did. I know, second time doing this. And I guess I'll promote this again because the original had a promotion like this. But I also do this series on YouTube called Tyler Tales. It's basically partially FNaF inspired, like some of the characters are based off of FNaF characters, and a few of the characters are FNaF characters, but it's mostly an original direction with some FNaF inspired aspects from time to time. It's 13+. It has edgy content and jokes that is not for the easily offended. Also, if you're going to watch, I do not recommend Season 1 or most of Season 2 because in my opinion, it's not what the show becomes and it's the worst of the show in my opinion. I recommend to start watching episode 21, The Purging. I'm just promoting this because while I do like making the top 10s or top 5s or rankings or just general reviews, I also work on this series and a lot of more effort is put into the series in comparison to how it was in like 2019 and early 2020, so it would be very much appreciated if you did check it out. Just like the subscribe thing, totally optional. But yeah, now we got a certain fan game to talk about and oh boy. What else was it going to be? What else was it going to be? What else was it going to be? So, yeah. This was the other fan game that carried over from the original list, and as opposed to being at number 2 in the original, it's at number 1 now. I, Tyler, from November 21st, 2021, at 2:55 a.m. writing the script, not even kidding, now think that Five Nights in Anime is the worst FNaF fan game of all time. I mean, what else could top it? The problems with this game are blatant and obvious. Only people that are blind cannot see the issue in question. They got titty! Now, there is the ever so valid argument of,
but Tyler, it's just a joke game, bro. It's supposed to be a funny haha.
Well, I never laughed once when playing this funny haha at all. As a joke game, this falls fucking flat in its fucking face. In my opinion, at least. Gee, I remember when sexualizing characters who are haunted by children was considered such a funny joke. And sure, you could also argue that,
oh, this game's completely different in that the children are not even there, and nobody haunts these animatronics.
But you see, the thing is that it does not stop people from associating these sexualized characters to the actual characters who are actually possessed by kids. It's not like I and other players suddenly forget when we're playing Five Nights in Anime. Children or no children in the game, it reminds me of the source material because of the fact it's a fan game of a series, which is literally part of the selling point, and with the context of the series the fan game is based on, it's disgusting. I'm sorry, but this game truly grosses me out. And it's not because I'm sensitive to funny haha titties. No, I can get down with funny haha titties. It's just context that you're not going to forget is what harms the experience when playing for me and a decent amount of players. This is in the same vein as those shitty Minecraft Circus Baby videos, which at this point is practically free porn for children. It doesn't matter if children are present in the games or universe. It's still disgusting because you know the source material the fan game is based off of. I could go on and on about how the gameplay is once again just FNaF 1 and there should be a more unique mechanics and how I'll admit the art style is great. Again, I said the art style, not what was made of it. That's where I take issue with. I feel Mirasu has learned though from this game's massive flaws, because Five Nights in Anime 3 seems like it's reaching a decent balance between sexualization and hey, actually normal, with it leaning more towards actually normal, thankfully. So I feel like I don't need to suggest anything here. Mirasu took the responsible route of a video game developer and learned from his mistakes from his past work and used those as a foundation to improve, and love or hate this game and its series, you gotta admit, Mirasu is not a bad guy. I know you guys expected me to end off this segment with rage, hate-filled bashing like the original with Smudgers 4, And yeah, while I did explain my problems with this fan game, that's what you do when you make these lists, but I just feel like ending this on a positive note this time. In my opinion, Five Nights in Anime is the worst FNaF fan game of all time, but I feel like making an opposite ending of the original list this time. I honestly, truly think Marisu learned what was wrong with this game, and he's making better work as of currently because, well, he learned. This is a cycle of a FNaF fan game developer that should be normalized a bit more, creating an either mediocre or even straight up bad fan game, and then down the line, making either a good or outright great game, and with that being the norm of the developer. The next time you sit down and play a FNaF fan game that's not a sequel, and it's either a first game of a series or a standalone fan game, just know that even if it's bad, there's a chance that the developer behind the game either has or will improve with his next work, and if they do, in my opinion, that is absolutely admirable, and well, it creates such a unique community within the industry of FNaF fan games. FNaF fan games are truly one of a kind, and this cycle for developers regarding improvement is one of the many reasons why, and will always continue being.